For those of you who went, Q. Merry Christmas belated to all of you guys. Well, we, obviously we talked about this after the game. Disappointing. Thought we had good effort. I didn't think the conditions really affected us. I thought our guys handled that fine. Just obviously not enough production, I'd say, offensively as we went through the game. Started well. Had a decent first drive. The first half had some things that we liked and got some things going. Did a decent job of putting some points on the board before the half there in the 2-minute, but really just couldn't sustain the positive play formula that we wanted to have. Too many, either a negative play here, a negative play there, or a penalty, an untimely penalty. Obviously, the one that took JJ's big run back hurt. So, 10 points on the road is tough to win, when you're doing that. Put a lot of pressure and stress on the defense. And I thought the defense, did a decent job for the most part. We knew they would give us a huge dose of the running back, which he's a really good player. And I thought our guys, played it admirably for the most part. He gave up a couple chunk runs, but for the most part, I thought we did a decent job there. And contained the passing game as long as we could. And then, they made a few plays there at the end, obviously, to drive the ball and score at the end. So, at the end of the day, just, hard to win with 10 points. It's just difficult to do that. And I thought we, like I said, I didn't think we went there and the conditions affected us. That's not the case. I thought we played, decent in that regard, but just, didn't have enough to show for it.
Josh, over the last 4 games, Derek's completion percentage is 55% or below. Mm-hmm. He's got 9 interceptions over his last 5 games. Especially at this point in the season where you would figure that maybe things would be trending up, mm-hmm. Understanding the offense. Anything that you could put your finger on why it's going in that direction?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons, obviously, for that, and I don't put everything. It's never on one person. And that's our responsibility, my responsibility. And at the end of the day, the passing game and the production of the passing game, usually has a lot to do with, how we protect, the routes we run, the ability to read the coverage together, throwing and catching. There's a lot that goes into that. So I know that statistic gets applied to just one person, but certainly there's other factors. So, I mean, look, that's not good enough, you know what I mean? And for us to be able to win at this time of the year and be productive offensively, you have to throw the ball, better than what we've thrown it at times here in the last month and a half. We've been able to win some in spite of that, overall, but, clearly that's not the goal. The goal would be to be more productive than what we've been.
I know that you're mentioning, obviously, there's a lot of reasons, factors, but do you need your quarterback to play better?
Yeah, I mean, look, we all can do better. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, if we're sitting in the meeting room today thinking that we played great over the last however long it is, I don't think that's really the case. You know what I mean? We all can do better, and we should, and we need to, and we can coach better. So we're all in this together. That's the way it's going to be, and you win and lose as a team offensively. You're productive as a group, not, as one individual or a bunch of individuals. So everybody, can do better. And I'm sure he'd be the first one to tell you that he could do the same thing. So,
Josh, statistically, I mean, I know there's still a chance for the playoffs, but realistically, they look to be out of reach. And I'm curious, as you look at the long term of the team, Derek's contract, if he's injured, is guaranteed moving forward. So if you guys continue to play him, is that hey, we're sticking with him in the future? Or is that all things that have to be talked about?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that are going to go into that bucket once we kind of sort through after tonight. There's other things too. I mean, we have guys that, Divine, is that worth playing, not playing, coming off IR, it's the guys that got injured, here this week or have some things that are nagging them. I think there's a lot of things that you start to, talk about relative to taking care of the people that are dealing with things like that, injuries or contracts, what have you. I think you got to consider all that stuff. We just got back in this morning, you know what I mean? So we're going through the game. We're going to coach the game, and correct all the things that need to be corrected. The reality is we haven't had any conversations about those things yet. And, you know, as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm sure we'll sort through some of those things. But, you know, we're aware of all those things too.
Could be a possibility that maybe you turned it.
I think there's a possibility that we would do the right thing regardless of the position. You know what I mean? Just in terms of the team. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you know, Chandler went down, Denzel went down. You know, rushing those guys back. Divine is another one. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go into this. You know, so I'm not going to get up here and prognosticate everything at this point. Like I said, we're going to get in here and coach the game and correct that, and then I think in due time make the right decisions, hopefully to protect those guys that, you know, we should protect, you know, relative to health, and then also do the right thing for the organization as we go forward.
Was it just a game flow that kind of made the game go away from Josh Jacobs and not give him?
No, it wasn't. You know, I give them credit. You know, they were kind of, in a nutshell, you know, we would put one group out there and then they would put a group out there with one more big guy than what we had, you know, and I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but there were times we were out there with 3 defensive backs and 4-4 front, you know, against our personnel grouping. And it made it very difficult to just keep slamming runs in there because you were either going to ask Mac Hollins to block a linebacker or, you know, which is just not, you know, good football in that regard. So part of their plan, like I said, they did a decent job of trying to discourage that as much as they could. You know, we felt like we made some adjustments that helped us as the game went on, but, you know, we didn't have the ball much in the second half, you know, and that's our fault. You know what I mean? We kind of, you know, created a negative play, and then it was 3rd and long, and then, you know, penalty, and then, you know, we had a 3rd and 25. So, I mean, those situations are, you know, our responsibility. And so, you know, when you can't play the game 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, 3rd and, you know, it's hard to find any rhythm, quite honestly. And I would say in the second half, we didn't do a very good job offensively of establishing any rhythm. You know, we were behind the sticks too much. We didn't make enough positive plays. We hurt ourselves with negative plays and penalties. And for that reason, you know, he didn't get the touches that we certainly want to give him. So, you know, I love the guy. You know, he should have the ball more than any other player on our team, and he has. And so I love this passion, his fight. You know, he wants to help us win in any way that he can, and we got to do a better job of being productive so we can stay out of those situations where the running game becomes difficult to stick with.
He obviously expressed himself
Yeah.
after the game.
Yep. I have no.
What your, you know, I guess your thoughts about that, but then also, does it warrant any kind of a conversation at all, or do you just?
No, look. Our guys want to win, and look, there's been a handful of guys that have done that. It's an emotional sport. It's an emotional game. Hell, I wasn't real excited after the game either, you know, and so I think the reality is you know, you're allowed to be frustrated. You know what I mean? I think you handle it in the right way and you do things the right way. And you know, JJ expressed his feelings, and it is what it is. You're going to have that at times, you know. But I've said this a number of times. I love the guy, and you know, I think he stands for the right things, and you know, he wants to help us win, and he should, you know, and he has, and so. Look, there's a lot of things that are going to, I'd say, you know, be evaluated here as we go forward and try to make decisions that are in the best interest of our team and our organization, and try to end, you know, like we've talked about a number of times this year. You know, we got to try to create something that's sustainable so that we're not sitting here having this conversation, you know, next year and beyond.
When you look at the lost leads in the second half of the season, is there any unifying theme, or is it just basically game by game?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're all different. Each game is different. And this one, you know, we're ahead, and we need to get further ahead. You know, the longer you give an opponent in this league an opportunity to keep taking swings at you to try to take the lead, you know, when it's a 7-point game, a 4-point game, whatever it is. I don't know how many possessions they had in the second half, 6 or whatever it was. I mean, you give them that many opportunities at some point, you know, they have good coaches and good players over there, and, you know, they make some plays, and that's what happens. So, you know, we have a lead. We have to create a bigger lead, and that's just the way that the league goes. And if you don't, then you're going to have to play great defense the entire game and, you know, hold them to single digits and all that to win, and that's difficult to do.
Josh, Josh, I'm not discussing any specific player, I'm just gonna ask you an evaluation question. When you are looking at guys and you see all their physical talents, do you also weigh the mental mistakes and things they cost you to determine whether or not what their future is with the Raiders?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that go into this. Obviously they're all talented. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. So that's one thing. But their ability to handle pressure, their ability to think and react and adjust during the course of a game, their ability to adjust week to week with the game plan and then be able to go out and execute it with their teammates, their ability to communicate. That's a huge part of every team's, ability to win and play good football. Their value in terms of overall position flexibility, what they give us in the kicking game, what they give us on their unit, can they play more than one role, their durability, their ability to be available for us, as many weeks as possible. So everything is going to get evaluated in that regard. And then, look, you want to try to make, you want to try to create a team that's, tough, smart, and dependable under pressure, and is durable and can handle adversity. That's what we're trying to aim for. I don't know that it's a finished product yet. And so we're gonna do everything we can to win these last two games, starting with San Fran this week, and then we'll see what happens after that.
All along, you said you could take care of what you could take care of. It wasn't, you couldn't look at what other teams
Yep.
were doing in terms of the picture, but everything kind of fell into place positively except for your
Yep.
result. How much more frustration does that add? Or is there some optimism of like, hey, there is still that glimmer of, percentage chance, or is it more frustration at what could have been?
The frustration was with the result of the game that we didn't do enough coaching or playing to win it. At this point, I think all the energy you spend doing that is really, it's unnecessary. I don't know really what it helps us do or accomplish this week. So, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna coach the game, correct the things we can correct this week, and then, move on to the next one and do everything we can to win this one. And then, like I said, we don't control those other factors. The only thing we can control is ourselves and our performance. So, which there's plenty to fix.
Chandler and Denzel, do you have any updates on them?
No update other than they both I'd say incurred some injuries that could affect their ability to play again this year. We don't have all the things we need in terms of imaging and those kind of things. So that's all being done today, and we'll have more information obviously after this afternoon.
All good.
Good to go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Josh.